Good morning. Thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word. I'm Barry Bryson, and we're continuing our study of the book of Habakkuk this morning as a part of our larger study of the minor prophets. So last time we were together, the prophet Habakkuk brought a question to God and said, how can you let these wicked people around me, your people, who are so wicked, they're so violent, they are so unjust to each other, they're so immoral, and not do anything about it. And God's answer was, I am going to do something about it. I'm going to haul all of you guys into Babylonian captivity. So this is difficult for the prophet. Now, God ended what he said yesterday by saying about the Babylonians, they will be held guilty, they whose strength is their God. But I don't think that he has heard or has fully processed that God had said this, because then he brings the second question, which we're going to talk about today, which is, how can you do this? They're worse than we are. So we're going to talk about chapter 1, verse 12 through chapter 2, verse 20, the end of chapter 2, which ends with another wonderful verse from Habakkuk that we all know. The Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth be silent before him. Okay, so Habakkuk gets an answer immediately from God. And it's Babylonian captivity. I am doing something about this. And this is his question. And we're going to read chapter 1, verse 12 through chapter 2, verse 1. Are you not from everlasting, O Lord, my God, my Holy One? We will not die. You, O Lord, have appointed them to judge, and you, O Rock, has established him to correct. Your eyes are too pure to approve evil, and you cannot look on wickedness with favor. Why do you look with favor on those who deal treacherously? Why are you silent when the wicked swallow up those more righteous than they? Why have you made men like fish of the sea, like creeping things without a ruler over them? The Chaldeans, the Babylonians, will bring all of them up with a hook, drag them away with their net, and gather them together in their fishing net. Therefore they rejoice and are glad. Therefore they offer sacrifice to their net and burn incense to their fishing net, because through these things their catch is large and their food is plentiful. Will they therefore empty their net and continually slay nations without sparing? I will stand on my guard post and station myself on the rampart, and I will keep watch to see what he will speak to me and how I may reply when I am reproved. I love chapter 2, verse 1. Habakkuk says, listen, this is what I know. You're God, and you're my God, and you're holy, and you're righteous, and you can't abide falsehood. So how can you do this thing? How can you take these people who are worse than we are and punish us with them? If you do this thing, how can we survive? And if you do this thing, they're not going to give you the glory for it. They're not going to admit that you're the one who did this. They're going to offer their incense, burn their incense, and offer their offerings to their own strength, to their own fishing net who've hauled all these people in. And are they going to stop with us, or are they going to keep brutalizing other nations? Now, all that is true, isn't it? But the prophet says, now I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to stand here and listen. And I'm going to take my reproof because I know I'm wrong. And I'm going to see what I can do in response to God's answer. So God's answer is given to us in chapter 2, verse 2 through chapter 2, verse 20. We're not going to read the entire answer today, but God says something very important at the beginning and then says something very important at the end. The Lord says at the beginning, record the vision, inscribe it on tablets, that the one who reads it may run. The vision is yet for the appointed time. It hastens toward the goal, it will not fail. For though it tarries, wait for it. It will certainly come, it will not delay. Behold, as for the proud one, his soul is not right within him, but the righteous will live by faith. And that's how it begins. I've answered what I've answered. My will is immutable. This is going to happen. And those who are proud and who shake their fists at me and who act in hubris will not survive. They just won't. You don't have to worry about that. But the just shall live by faith. And then he details the punishment that he's going to give to the Babylonians for their deeds and their sins. And he elaborates on their sins. Their greed, their insatiable need to have more, to conquer more people, to have a more rich lifestyle, that is going to be punished. The fact that they devise shameful means to just pillage the riches of every nation they conquer, which they did. They carried off everything from the temple and took it to Babylon. They also kept such good records that whenever the Jews returned to Jerusalem during the Persian Empire, they had the list of stuff and they gave it back to them. I don't know if our government could measure up to that. They're cruel. They're not as cruel as the Assyrians, but they're cruel enough. And as I said, read Psalm 137 if you want to know how cruel. And they are idolatrous. Now, God, when he sent Jonah to the Assyrians, did not send him with a message about idolatry or about their particular pantheon. Not in that moment. But the Babylonians, through Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, and especially through Daniel, at the highest levels, are going to be given an opportunity over and over and over again to know that the God of the Jews is the one true God. And they're even going to say that. Their kings are going to say that and decree it for all the nations. And yet, they don't stop and worship that God. They continue to maintain their pantheon. And therefore, because of their idolatry, they're going to be punished as well. And then the last thing God says is this. Listen, I'm in charge. There's nothing else you can really say to that. The Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth be silent before him. That is a lesson for all time, for every minute of every day. I'm God, and you're not. And this is the way it's going to be. And you have to trust that it's the right thing. Okay? We're going to look at Habakkuk's prayer, which is also a song, which is his reply tomorrow. Thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word.